the first quarter allocation will be able to be given to us. What this means in very plain language is that we will have a lag in our ability to pay crime victims. And therefore, any predictable manner will not be there. We can no longer say we will be able to pay them in a certain amount of time. So they will have to wait longer for their payments, as will providers. Will have to wait longer. And what we know is when people provide services, they want payment. Our fear is with the delay in payments that some crime victims will not be able to access the treatment of services they need because the providers will not want to wait for the money. And also, as we've already seen, and this we predict will get worse, when there is a delay in payment, there are some providers who will actually take the crime victim's bill and send it to a collection agency, which we know will hurt their credit. So all of these, if the money is taken out of the fund, we do see that many negative aspects to this and a further re-victimizing of crime victims. The other part is that if we lose money and we cannot grant as much as we do, we will also lose VOCA funding. So that means OVS will have less money overall to award crime victims in the years to come. So any way you look at this, if the crime victims fund is $3 million is removed, crime victims will lose. While we take the time to reflect on the accomplishments achieved during the past 25 years, we must be mindful how much victims of crime in Connecticut can lose. The Criminal Injuries Compensation Fund must be protected from any and all budget mitigation raids. If you are interested, we have a talking sheet on our table if you're interested in some of the points, and we encourage anyone who's interested to make some phone calls to your appropriate legislators. The OVS compensation program has helped thousands of crime victims during the past 30 years. We cannot afford to let the current economic climate erode one of the most important safety net programs available to crime victims today. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Our next speaker is Danielle Reyes. She is the current president of Survivors of Homicide. Danielle?
Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Reyes, president of Survivors of Homicide Incorporated, which services those who have lost loved ones and family, friends to violence. Survivors of Homicide is happy to once again be the sponsor for the National Crime Victims Week, and we'd like to thank all of you for attending today. This week is a time to bring awareness to the public at large that people who are victims of crime have a face, rights, and encounter many challenges, and also recognize and celebrate all those in the state who support crime victims, understanding that there's still work to be done. In celebrating National Crime Victims Week, April 26th through May 2nd, 2009, we have encouraged schools to give events signifying support for victims of victim rights and awareness of violence, and mayors and politicians to provide information about crime victim rights via their websites and other communication channels. Various agency events are being supported and conducted throughout the week, focusing on bringing awareness to crime victims' challenges, stories, rights, and services. The Office of the Victim Advocate, Office of Victim Services, Survivors of Homicide, MAD, CONSACS, Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence, True Colors, and the Connecticut Child Advocate have available at the surrounding tables specific information regarding the services offered by their agencies for anyone who would like more specific information. Now, where are we? The United Crime Report reported that in Connecticut, over 1,800 violent crimes occurred in 2007 and again in 2008. Unfortunately, 2008 saw 137 homicides in the state. According to the New Haven Mayor's Office, New Haven experienced a 69% increase in homicides from the previous year. 1 in 4 women in Connecticut have been sexually assaulted. 32% of those victims who either participated in a survey conducted by CONSACS or sought services never told anybody about their assault. And in 2008, 867 rape kits were done on children under the age of 16. in the state of Connecticut. The National Coalition Against Domestic Violence reported that Connecticut provided services for over 20,000 victims in 2005. Connecticut Coalition Against Domestic Violence reported that the number of victims who received services in 2008 exceeded 47,000 victims. To follow up on Linda Cimino's remarks regarding the risk to the Connecticut Criminal Injuries Compensation Fund, I have a few additional comments. We all understand that we are facing hard economic times and difficult choices have to be made. However, with each year, violent crime continues and we have to add more crime victims to the list. The increase in domestic violence services provided in 2008 versus 2005 tells us that outreach efforts are resulting in positive results through building awareness and trust for victims, crime victims, enabling them to reach out to the system. These points are key facts that we need more services, not fewer, as a matter of public safety. The progress that has been made in gaining victims' trust to seek out our services would be moved back dramatically if the funding required to provide these services were to be cut. Strong consideration must be given to retain the current Connecticut Criminal Injuries Compensation Fund to ensure we continue to move forward and meet the needs of the expanding crime victim population. A key point to highlight is that if this funding is cut, we will not receive federal reimbursements for expenditures to meet the needs concerning victims' compensation, meet the needs of Connecticut crime victims, We urge you to review the current bill number 6703, an act concerning victim compensation, which is currently under consideration on the floor of the General Assembly. This bill would secure a Criminal Injuries Compensation Fund and remove the risk to criminal victim services. We are fortunate to have with us today several crime victims who have graciously agreed to speak with all of you today. I will defer to them to provide you with the insight of the journey they are on by sharing their experiences and challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danielle. The next person we have speaking today is Representative Mike Lawler. Representative Mike Lawler is serving the 11th term as a member of the House of Representatives representing the town of East Haven. In the legislature, Mike has been recognized for his work reforming the Connecticut criminal justice system. As the House Chair of the Judiciary Committee, Mike played a key role in amending the Connecticut Constitution to establish rights for crime victims. He also has been a leader in the efforts to enact a number of workable gun control laws, rewrite and toughen the state's domestic violence law, reform and strengthen the juvenile justice system, address racial disparities in the criminal justice system, pass laws ending discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, and also address recidivism. Help me welcome Mike Lawler.